Okay, I think we should get started. Just give me a second. Um, okay, thank you all so much for being here on election day. I call this meeting to order at 7:07 p.m. We are going to start with the agenda. Does anyone have any amendments to the agenda? Please raise your hand. Josh.
Hi, can I please add Alston Liu to appointments for the Student Fee Advisory Committee?
Yes. Alicia.
Can I strike ARC allocations? And I'm gonna table the MO coalition history one more week, but I'll have it next week.
Sounds good. Nico.
Hi all, can I scratch USA/BOD allocations, please?
Yes. Have you?
Can I strike bag allocations, please?
Yes. Bethany.
Can we please strike capital contingency allocations, please?
Jonathan.
Could someone motion to add CS mini allocations to the agenda, please?
Jonathan, are those action items or consent items?
Action items.
Tamim.
Motion to add CS mini fund to the agenda.
Second.
I second.
Tamim motions, Javi seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. And all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 12-0 vote, that motion passes. Are there any more amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, could we please get a motion to approve the agenda? Kiara?
I motion to approve the November 5th, 2024 USAC agenda.
I'll second.
Kiara motions, Robbie seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now. Please lower your hands. All against and all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 14-0 vote, that motion passes and the agenda is approved. Do we have any minutes to approve? Kendall, do you know if we have any?
Yes, we have October 29th.
Thank you. Could someone please motion for the October 29th meeting? Tamian?
Motion to approve the meeting agenda, meeting minutes for October 29, 2024.
A second.
Tamian motions, Josh seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now. Please lower your hands. All against and all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 14-0 vote, that motion passes. We are now going to move into public comment. Just a reminder for public comment, we have 30 minutes total. Each speaker has 2 minutes to speak. And just some of our community guidelines. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from accountability. Use gender inclusive language and no dehumanizing language. With that being said, is there anyone here with us online that's here for public comment? If so, please raise your hands now. Emily.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Emily Martin. I am a senior mechanical engineering student here at UCLA, and I'm the president of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers at UCLA. We are a student-run organization. We're a SOL-approved club. We do a variety of technical projects focused on robotics, as well as professional development and community building activities. The reason I am here tonight is because we apply for BOD every single quarter. We apply through two funds to two applications to cover 5 technical projects. And this past application cycle, there was miscommunication between BOD and SOL as to when SOL had to approve our application. Therefore, we were not approved until after the funds were allocated, and we've lost around, we requested maximum for each, so we've lost around $8,500 at the maximum. BOD consists of a very large percentage of our technical project funding, and we are currently not sure what to do without funding money, so I am here to see if there's anything that USAC recommends or USAC can do, given that we submitted our proposal on time. It was not on our end, and it was also not on Seoul's end. I spoke with Orlando today. He said that he was not made aware that funding delegations were going to happen this early, and that the people who delegated the funds didn't know that Seoul had to approve our application and didn't notice that it was pending because of that. So just here to ask for advice on what to do next.
Thank you for coming, Emily. Usually we do not have a back and forth conversation during public comment, but this one time I will discretionarily allow Nico to respond per his request. Nico, please keep it less than a minute long.
Hi, Emily. Thanks for coming out today. I can talk to you more about this if you email me. My email is fsc.usac.ucla.edu or something like that. Sorry. But just like Seoul was given the deadlines in advance, so there was some.
That FSC as in F as in fish. S as in
Emily,
I'll put in the chat. I'll put in the chat for you. But yeah, just reach out to me and I can talk to you more about it. Sorry.
Thank you, Emily, for coming. Is anyone else here for public comment? Please raise your hands. With that being said, I will close public comment at 7:13 p.m. We are now going to move on to our funding, starting with contingency. We have Bethany.
Hi everyone, this week we had a total contingency programming request of $36,498, and we recommend an allocation of $16,874.67 for 40 non-USAC entities. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And I've also pasted it in the chat.
Thank you. Can we get that approved, please? Have you?
I move to approve the allocation of $16,874.67 for 40 non-USAC entities.
I second that motion.
Have you motions? Chris Espino seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. And all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 12-0 vote, that motion passes and contingency is approved. We're going to move on to SFS with Kerrigan.
Hi everyone. I'll put in the chat, but this week SFS allocated $1,000 to one non-USAC entity.
Since this is a consent item, is there any opposition to the allocation? Seeing none, we're going to move on to SWC programming with Kiara. Kiara?
For SWC this week, I'll put it in the chat. For the SWC programming fund, SWC recommends one allocation to a USAC entity of $500. Oh, I put the specific one, might be $500.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to the allocation? Seeing none, we're going to move on to BAG with Javi.
Did I not move to strike those allocations?
I'm not sure, but it's okay. We can just move on to ASRF with Chris Espino.
Thanks, Adam. This week, AAC recommends an allocation of 1,806 to 7 non-USAC entities.
Could you put that in the chat?
Sure.
Sorry, I just realized that it's a consent item. It doesn't have to be a chat. Is there any opposition? Sorry, Chris. Seeing that, we're going to move on to Travel Grant Mini Fund. Sorry, Travel Mini Grant Fund.
You're good. I was a little bit confused for a second there, but you're good. This week, AAC recommends $515 with 16 cents to 2 non-USAC entities.
Is there any opposition to that allocation? Seeing none, we're going to move on to TGIF with Alex.
Hi, this week the Reader Initiative Fund allocated $11,633.48 to 7 non-USAC entities and 0 USAC entities, and I'll put that in the chat.
Thank you, Alex. Next, we have CS Transpo with Karen.
Hi. Also, not sure if this is supposed to be like a consent item or like an action item, but I guess it says it's action. So this week, the CS Transpo Fund recommends an allocation of $5,168 to 2 non-USAC entities and 1 USAC entity.
Could we get a motion, please?
I move to approve the recommended allocation of $5,168 to 2 non-USAC entities and 1 USAC entity.
I second.
Abby motions, Tamim seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. And all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 13-0 vote, that motion is approved. And last, we have CS mini fund allocations.
Hi, folks. Kimberly couldn't be here tonight, so she asked me to present on her behalf. CS Mini had a total requested amount of $45,184.73 this cycle, and a recommended allocation of $32,171.40 to 1 USAC entity and 19 non-USAC entities.
Chris Espino, could you motion? Set your hands up. Or not. Someone else motion.
I motion to approve the recommended allocation of $32,171.40 for CS Mini to 1 USAC entity and 19 non.
Second.
Karen motions, Javi seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. And all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 13-0 vote, that motion is approved. We're going to move on to appointments, starting off with a FICOM member. We have Lucy. Could she please be promoted? And just a reminder to all our appointments, the way that appointments work is you start off with a 1-minute opening statement, followed by a 15-minute question and answer period, then ending off with a 1-minute closing statement. After that, we'll hear ARC's recommendations, move on to council deliberations, and then finally a vote. Obviously, Lucy, you know how this all works. So without further ado, please go ahead with your 1-minute opening statement.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you all again. My name is Lucy Yin. I'm a 4th-year computational biology major with a minor in data science. I've been in the USAC Finance Committee since my freshman year. So freshman year, I joined as an associate, and then I became vice chair the year after. And then last year, I was the head chair for FICOM. And this year, I'm hoping to be appointed again as an associate. I was not able to take on the responsibility of being chair again, but because I've been part of FICOM and for so long, and it's been really important to me, I'm hoping to stay on as an associate and just help review funding applications and continue to work with the team. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here talking to you guys today, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Lucy. We're now going to move on to a 15-minute question and answer period. If any council members have any questions, please raise your hands. Seeing none, we're going to move on to your 1-minute closing statement, Lucy. Please go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time today. Yeah, I'm excited to continue reviewing funding applications and just ensuring that we are continuing to push transparency and equity when reviewing applications, and just making sure that student orgs don't feel intimidating by the complex funding process, and just making sure that underrepresented groups are able to apply to our fund and are aware of the processes. so we can continue to support all communities on campus. And yeah, I think this being my fourth year and just being on the committee for so long, just very excited to continue to work on the goals that we've been working towards these past few years. Thank you all so much for your time today.
Thanks, Lucy. We're now going to hear ARC's recommendations.
Lucy presented an excellent interview to ARC, having been on FICOM for the past 3 years, including serving as last year's chair. ARC believes that Lucy is more than qualified to take on the role of a FICOM associate this coming year. With Lucy's experience and commitment to FICOM, ARC has no doubt that Lucy should fill the remaining FICOM appointment. With a 3-0 vote, ARC recommends Lucy for this appointment.
Thank you. We're now going to move on to council deliberations. If anyone has any deliberations, please raise your hand. If not, could we please get a motion to approve the appointment? Josh?
I motion to appoint Lucy Yin to FICOM member.
I second that motion.
Josh motions, Chris Espino seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now. Please lower your hands. All against and all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 14-0 vote, Lucy is appointed as an associate to the FICOM. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
We're now going to move on to our academic senate appointment. This time, the undergraduate council. We have Brett. Hey, Brett.
Hello, how's it going?
Pretty good. Whenever you're ready, please go ahead with your 1-minute opening statement.
All right. Hello, my name's Brett Byrne. I go by he, him, his pronouns, and I'm a third-year political science major, and I'm a transfer from El Camino College in Los Angeles County, located in Torrance. I'm applying for the undergraduate council as a transfer student representative, and I believe I would be a great role or a great fit for this position because I'm a huge advocate of community college as a way for those who either wouldn't be able to go to a 4-year to pursue a higher education or a career. And I come from a family of transfers. Both my older brother and my sister are from the same community college. So I do understand kind of how the transfer process works in and out, but I also understand the frustrations that many transfer students have with just the whole process. But I believe without that support, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And so I want to join undergraduate council to elevate those who didn't have the support that I did and ensure that they have the platform to hear their voices.
Thank you, Brett. We are now going to move on to our 15-minute question and answer period. If any council members have any questions, please raise your hands now. Chris Espino.
Hello, Brett. Thank you so much for being here. One of the questions I have for you is, what steps would you take to ensure that the policies and decisions made by the Academic Senate are inclusive?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think the best thing we can do to ensure that all of the decisions made are inclusive is just to ensure that the people that we're representing, or at least the people I would be representing would be heard, and that their preferences are understood, and that there's communication between me and the people that I'm representing, just so I hear a variety of answers and that I could equally have other people's opinions as well.
Kara.
Hi there. Thank you for being here tonight. I just want to ask you if you could elaborate a little bit further on like 1 to 2 goals that you would have if appointed to this position, and what exact steps would you take to get there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the goals that I have for this position would be to increase the transparency in just the whole, at least on the transfer side of things, the transparency regarding GEs and transfer credits and how those kind of transfer from community to here specifically at UCLA. At least in my experience, I found it slightly confusing in terms of what different departments are looking for, what majors are looking for what, and I found it a little gray, as in the expectations once I got here. And I think one of the goals that I really want to push in this position would just be to increase that transparency and make sure that transfer students understand, what they need, how they can, maybe switch major if they want, how they could declare other things, and kind of that whole process. So that would be one of my goals.
Robbie?
Hi, Brett. Thank you for being here tonight. Can you expand upon how you'd make that communication from transfer students possible? Like, what are your ideas for improving communication between transfer students and yourself in the academic senate?
Yeah, well, I'm currently on the Hill. I'm in Deneb Hawley, which is an all transfer student dorm. And a big part of kind of that outreach, I think, would be working with, RAs, working with the on-campus housing council to ensure that, there's ways that I can hear what people think and have these maybe forums, maybe surveys put within the building. So transfer students, at least in the building, could have their voices heard. But I'm also a really big advocate for more, social media marketing, sort of social media outreach. I think it's a really big tool, and I think there are really creative ways we could be using it. We have a lot of a lot of engagement across various departments, across various platforms, and I think really driving the social media engagement to just make that communication easier and just reach more people would be a really important thing.
Are there any other questions for Brett? Seeing none, we are going to move on to your 1-minute closing statement. Please go ahead whenever you're ready.
So thank you all for listening to me today, and appreciate you moving me on to the next round. I just want to say I'm really committed to the transfer student community. I believe it's one of my most salient identities. I really resonate with transfer students. A lot of my friends are transfer students, and I'm really committed to the advancement and kind of the expansion of, the support for transfer students. I have a long line of service history. I worked as a manager for 2 years as a coffee shop. I have legislation experience. I worked for State Senator Ben Allen, where I worked with a lot of student coalitions to, raise awareness and ensure that SB 54, which is, shout out Ben Allen, thank you. SB 54, which is a single-use plastic ban. I worked with reaching out to other government offices to ensure that we got the votes needed to pass that. And so I think all those experiences have shaped me here. And I think I would be a really great fit for this role. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. We are now going to hear ARC's recommendations.
Brett had an exemplary interview with ARC. ARC was impressed with Brett's desire to uplift the transfer community by establishing relations between UGC and transfer groups such as the Transfer Student Center. ARC is additionally looking forward to seeing Brett provide input on educational requirements from a transfer student perspective. ARC recommends Brett for this appointment with a 3-0 vote.
Thank you. Do any council members have any comments or concerns? Seeing none, could we please get a motion? Have you?
Sorry, give me a moment. I move to appoint Brett Byrne to the Academic Senate Undergraduate Council for a 1-year term.
I second that motion.
Javi motions, Chris Espino seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. And all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 12-0 vote, that motion passes and Brett is appointed to the Academic Senate. Thanks, Brett. We are going to move on to our third appointment. We have a USAC appointment. We have Yusuf Bouchet. Hey, Yusuf.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Whenever you're ready, please go ahead with your 1-minute opening statement.
Okay, hi all. My name is Yusuf Bouchet. I'm a 3rd-year economics major. I'm an international student and an immigrant. I would like to apply to the Student Health Advisory Committee today. I'm really excited to join. I believe I would be a great fit because I have previous experience in the on-campus housing council as a liaison between students and the professional staff at UCLA. I'm really motivated to be in this role because as an international student and as an immigrant, I understand the challenges that come with understanding the healthcare system at, in America and in general, like at college. It could be a rough transition, and I'm really looking forward to making some changes and giving some outreach programs to help students through this rough transition that they may experience. And yeah, thank you.
We're now going to move on to the 50-minute question and answer period, starting with Kiara.
Hi there. Thank you so much for being here tonight. The first question I wanted to ask you, so as you mentioned, with being a liaison in your role in like the housing community on campus, large part of SHAC is engaging with the student community and being a liaison with students and their needs regarding their healthcare and their well-being with SHAC and those working at the Ash Center and everything. So my question for you is, what is your approach to engaging with the student populations and investing time in this, engaging with them and understanding students' needs across our broad population of our broad student population, especially supporting the needs of minority students?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So essentially, like, I understand that at SHAC, we are always working with different student bodies, different student organizations. The more the better. We could always contact them and we would communicate with them to understand what students would like to see. We could work on surveys, we could work on general like forms that students can fill whenever they need. There's already like kiosks at the Ash Center that students can fill in feedback for. We would always hear from all the diverse student communities through these different student bodies and organizations, the different needs that they could have, the different like inquiries, the different recommendations. We would always be on top of what students think about the current, like health program situation at UCLA. And we would use those same channels that we got the, feedback from the students to reach back out to them, to respond to them, to give different kinds of outreach to them.
Have you?
Yeah, thank you, Yusuf. My question for you is, oh, excuse me. What are some particular initiatives that you would hope to pursue in your potential tenure, as a SHAC member?
Yeah, so I have a few. If you guys would like, I would discuss one right now, and if you want to hear more, I can give you a second one later. But essentially, my main outreach program would be a lot of students do not know about the vision benefits with UC SHIP. Most of my friends don't. When you're under 19 years old, for example, you are entitled to a benefit that gives you complete coverage for a full year supply of contact lenses or like frames with the prescription lenses inside of them. A lot of students don't know about that, and we could have an outreach program to let students know that this benefit is something that they have access to, and that for every benefit year that they're under 19, they can make use of this. It would be through a like Instagram post through different communities. We would reach out to them to let their respective communities know. We could advertise in different ways. We could ensure that at the Ash Center, this is something that is disclosed to students in relevant like visits, for example. If it's a vision related benefit, we would have it at the UCLA optometry, etc. Like it would be a program for students to understand their health benefits with UC SHIP better. Yeah.
Diego?
My question is for you today. How would you advocate for undocumented students to receive essential services if they do not qualify for UC SHIP?
Thank you for that question. So essentially, for undocumented students and in general, any other minorities that may face a similar issue, at like SHAC, we would ensure communication with the respective student bodies. So I know my friend works at one of the undocumented students' offices. We would be in constant touch with them to understand what their requirements or what their needs or inquiries are. And we would communicate as part of SHAC with the student health bodies to understand how they can facilitate better care for undocumented students and different minorities who are unable to afford some of these cares due to like technical reasons. We can find like ways around certain policies, or we could find amendments for certain policies, or like if they could refer students to a better alternative than UC Ship, something that would accommodate their needs given their circumstances. So we would constantly be in touch with both parties, the professional staff and the students who are undocumented or other minority groups, to ensure that, you know, there's always like compromise between the two and that the students get the advocacy that they need.
Kiara?
Yeah, thank you for your answers thus far. Kind of little bit of a broader question, but I just wanted to ask you, drawing from your experience, just during your time thus far, here at the school and having engaged with different populations and just your experiences and the goals that you've mentioned in your application and so far in this interview, what is your vision of what you want to see accomplished by the end of your term? Like what growth would you hope to see on campus in the spaces of healthcare and well-being for students on campus, that maybe you don't see right now? What kind of, and feel free to talk about different areas that you hope to see growth in and what that would look like.
Of course, thank you. I would hope that by the end of my time with SHAC, all the areas of student health would be covered to the best extent, or like the maximum efficiency that we could possibly have with UC Ship, so that students are paying for something and they are also getting that benefit. It would be ideally for students to receive all of the care that they're paying to receive, and students to of different backgrounds, as I mentioned before, to have these benefits given to them, so that all students at UCLA, no matter what kind of background they have, are able to focus on their academics without worrying about their health situation. So they wouldn't have to be concerned about what kind of healthcare can I get? Can I continue receiving this kind of healthcare if some kind of issue with my insurance occurs? I would ideally like to see that those problems like not face students, so that they could focus on their academics, not worry about their health, no matter their backgrounds or given circumstances.
Do we have any final questions? Seeing none, Yusuf, whenever you're ready, please go ahead with your 1 minute closing statement.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time to interview me and ask me questions and understand my, previous background. I'm really motivated and excited to be in this position. I would really like to implement some impactful changes to SHAC. I would really like to represent all these communities that we've discussed today and any communities that we haven't. I think that all students deserve healthcare. I think that all students deserve to focus on their academics without worrying about what they need health-wise. There's more changes that I would like to implement that we haven't had the chance to discuss in this interview. If you guys have any other questions, you could always reach out to me and I'll discuss them with you. But thank you so much for the time, and I'm really excited to hear back from you.
Thank you. Could you please hear ARC's recommendations?
Yusuf had an excellent interview with ARC. ARC was excited to see some of Yusuf's visions for this position. As an international student, Yusuf plans on addressing inequities international students face in receiving ASH-centered care, in addition to improving UC Ship accessibility for international students and students on leave of absence. With a 3-0 vote, ARC recommends Yusuf for this appointment.
Thank you. We're now going to move on to council member deliberations. Do any council members have any comments or concerns? Kiara.
Yeah, as my appointee, I just wanted to say that I was impressed by the applicant's application and the ideas you had in your perspectives moving forward, and the growth that you hope to see. That you mentioned the application and the interview, and if appointed, I'd look forward to collaborating between SHAC and SWC further in the coming year.
Are there any other comments or concerns? Seeing none, could you please get a motion? Tamim.
Motion to appoint Yusuf Bokhet to the Student Health Advisory Committee for 1 year.
Any seconds?
I second.
Tamim motions, Josh seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now. Please Is it a 1 year or 2 year term, Kiara? Do you happen to know?
It's 2.
Could you do it, Tamim?
Yes. Yeah. Um, motion to appoint Yusuf Bukhet to the Student Health Advisory Committee for 2 years.
Second.
I second.
Tamim motions, Josh seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. And all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 13-0 vote, that motion passes, and Yusuf is appointed to SHAC. Thank you so much for coming, Yusuf.
Thank you.
We are now going to move on to our second academic senate appointment, this time Legislative Assembly. We have none other than Harvind.
Hi, thank you, Adam. Good evening, members of the association and council. Just want to thank you all for considering my application and the opportunity to be here. My name is Harvind Gariwal. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a transfer student. I'm from Bakersfield College in the Central Valley. My major's in poli-sci and minor in public affairs. Last year I had the great privilege to serve on the Legislative Assembly, and that really helped build my confidence in collaborating with the administration as well as the council members, and working with the Academic Affairs Commission and Commissioner Sridhar and Chris Espino as the wonderful chief of staff on important reports and whatnot. And I'm really excited to remain active again in student affairs. Hence, I'm applying for this role again. Having had that 1 year experience, I think that really built that rapport I need with both administration and the USAC Council. So, once again, thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Harvind. We are now going to move on to the 50-minute question and answer period, starting with Tamim.
Hey, Harvin, thanks a lot for being here. My question to you is, having served on the Legislative Assembly last year, what were some challenges that you faced, and how do you plan to overcome those challenges to increase this year's efficiency?
And thank you for that, Said. I think in terms of challenges, it was really sort of connecting with the administration at one point, because even though you're a student representative there, you don't necessarily get to like have that meet and greet, have those conversations with them in person, and also because excuse me, also because you're not a voting member, that sort of makes it difficult, because when the administration does vote, it's like, oh, all of the non-voting members, they have to sort of get out. So it's like I can't really connect with them other than via email and whatnot. So I think in terms of that, I would push for that this year, because I know some of the administration faculty, so I think that would be good. Other than that, it was pretty swell. The transparency reports, they got to the AAC on time, so I'm happy with that. But if there are any challenges, I look forward to sort of surpassing them. Other than that, I think that's the only case. Thank you.
Have you?
Yeah, hi, Harvind. My question to you is more so on, okay, so the Academic Senate, especially the Undergraduate Council, is just one of the few ways that students get representation on this side of UCLA. So I was wondering like what your plans are, again, based on prior experience with you being on the Academic Senate, to help increase the transparency and visibility of the Undergraduate Council's work specifically to the rest of the student body.
Hi, Javier. Thank you so much for your question. So similar to last year, I really do want to push on those regular updates and reports, and making sure if there are any important decisions made in the Senate, that they're being posted, whether that's like having those concise summaries and whatnot, just helping make sure everybody's in the loop. Um, and I think we have a wonderful council this year. So like everyone, has their respective offices, and trying to get involved with them. so making sure they have that engagement too. I know last year it was directly to the AAC, and the AAC then goes ahead and reports it to the USAC council during the meetings. But I think this year those reports sort of being sent directly to the respective offices, I think that would be really convenient. So yeah, that's something I hope we can do. If that answers your question, I hope. Was there a second part to your question, or?
No, my question was just more so related, like increasing the visibility and transparency of what the undergraduate council does to the student body.
Okay, okay.
Does anyone else have any questions for Harvind? Seeing none, Harvind, whenever you're ready, please go ahead with your 1 minute closing statement.
Thank you. Yeah, so in closing, I just want to say thanks to you all. I'm really glad to be part of this system where you all value, sort of the values that we have. And as an international student, I know it's very important to have that inclusive environment, and you guys always assure that. So thank you so much. I'm very passionate about advocating for these policies and expand these opportunities for students and undergrads like ourselves. So hopefully once again this year, I'm able to be that bridge between the students and the admin. So thank you so much once again, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Harvind. We're now going to hear ARC's recommendations.
Harvin had an excellent interview with ARC. Having served on this committee last year, ARC has no doubt that Harvin will continue to do an excellent job representing the needs of international students and be appointed to the Legislative Assembly. ARC is excited to see Harvin implement some of his goals this year, including improving transparency between the Legislative Assembly and USAC and ensuring all groups of students are adequately represented in the Legislative Assembly. ARC recommends Harvin for this appointment with a 1-0 to 2 vote.
Thank you. We're now going to move on to council member deliberations. Does anyone have any comments or concerns? Josh, followed by Chris Espino, followed by Tamim, followed by Happy.
Hi, Harvin. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I just wanted to say that I was one of the members that abstained during the ARC interview, and I'll also be abstaining right now just because me and Harvin worked closely together in IBP last year. But I'm really excited that you're making a return to this appointment this year, Harvin, and I look forward to collaborating if you're appointed.
Hello, thanks, Adam, for acknowledging me. I will also say that I will be abstaining because Harvin and I worked very closely last year. I do want to quickly say that Harvin was one of the best senators that we were fortunate enough to have last academic year. He is really passionate about the work he does. And I mean, listening to him talk today, he is very modest about the things he does and the contributions that he's able to make. But I will be abstaining, and I really encourage you all to vote him in.
Going off of Chris Espino as well as Josh, I would just like to say that Harvind is a great candidate. Given his past experience, I think so he'll be the perfect person for the job. He will definitely represent the diverse international views. I will be voting yes because I know Harvind from election season, but I do not know him too well. So I'll be voting a yes, and I urge everyone to vote yes.
Have you retracted your hand? Mona?
I think a lot of other council members kind of expanded on all the great things Harvind has done previously in this position. But like a couple of other council members, I've gotten to know Harvind at a more personal level, and so I will also be abstaining tonight.
With that being said, could we please get a motion to appoint Harvind? Sorry.
Motion to appoint Harvind Gerwal for the Academic Senate Legislative Assembly for 1 year.
I second.
Tamim motions, Chris Ramsey seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. And all abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 11.
Sorry, I accidentally raised my hand on yes.
Yeah, there's a mistake for voting. Sorry, okay. With a 10-0 to 4 vote, that motion is approved and Harvard is appointed to the Academic Senate. Thank you so much, Arvin. We're now going to move on to our final appointment of the day. We have Alston with the Student Fee Advisory Committee. Whenever you're ready, please go ahead with your 1-minute opening statement.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Alston Liu, and I use she, her, hers pronouns. I am a third-year psychobiology major, and I'm applying for SFAC. I believe I'll be able to make a meaningful impact with this because I have unique financial background and financial skills. Just to start off, I started my own business when I was 14, so I worked a lot with budgeting, finance, and data analysis. I also was assistant camp director of 40 staffers and 200 kids. So I did payroll, budgeting for our classes, trying to help out with kids with different needs and disabilities that we did have in our classes. So I think just a lot of skills relevant to this position that will help me a lot. I'm also part of a lot of communities on campus that give me really diverse perspectives. I'm a mentor for a pre-med club, for USAC ISR, I'm also a pet head for physics. So just overall, like I get a lot of diverse perspectives that really help me to understand what students need.
Thank you. We are now going to move on to the 15-minute question and answer period, starting with Javi.
Hi, Alston. Thank you for coming out tonight. My question for you is if you can elaborate on what you know about the Student Fee Advisory Committee.
Yeah. So from what I understand, the student fee kind of advises the chancellor on what our fees are used for. So hearing what the chancellor has to say, what kind of changes they want, and voting if you want to support that or not. We can also vote to kind of make changes to what's currently there. And we also do a lot of communication within different people, so trying to like request funding, work with professors, with deans, communicate with our subcommittees, just overall, really being kind of understanding what students need, trying to help amplify those voices, and use our fees for things that matter for the student body, as well as really good communication from like all these different fronts.
Kiara?
Hi there. Thank you for being here tonight. The question I have for you is within the jurisdiction of this position and committee, what would you say are the current issues that are facing students regarding fees, and what would be your approach to engaging with students to confront these and advocate with them on these issues?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the biggest issue is transparency. I think a lot of students don't really know where our fees are going from. They just see on their Bruin bill, like, there's like a lot of these fees, a ton of their different stuff, and they're like, I don't even know if this stuff will pertain to me. So I think the biggest thing that I would work on is being transparent. So using a guide to see where, for example, the student services fees are going towards, because it's a really huge chunk. I also noticed on the website, a lot of things are not updated, a lot of links. So if I wanted to, see what the most recent meeting was about, it's not there. It's from like a few years ago. So like kind of updating like the calendar and minutes, or even like an email to reach out to people. I believe it says you can email us with any questions for transparency reasons, but it's really difficult to find the email. So making that really apparent. I think overall there's just a really big disconnect between student and student fees. So making like the trend report more accessible, and with all these fees and reports, not just on like social media, not just on this website, finding new avenues to really put this out there so students can find it if they're ever curious, which I know a lot of students are curious about it. And I think overall, like I know every year, like fees usually stay around the same. There's some changes, whatever's most relevant, but I think with this position, it's really important to not be afraid to make changes. We don't really need to follow this trend line that goes every single year. So not being afraid to stop that trend line in the way that best impacts our students. And something I also want to try and do myself is I do get the chance to talk to a lot of different students just from what I'm involved in, but really trying to branch out to, voices that aren't really heard a lot, like marginalized communities, organizations that are often overlooked. So maybe like finding surveys to send out to students to see what issues matter most to them and where they think, funding would best impact and support their learning, as well as hold town halls where students can discuss their opinions on student fees, what they feel like could be changed, any like suggestions they have, just get like a ton of ideas, because obviously each of us, we're only one person, we only have our identities. So there's so much that we can do. We really need to bring in a lot of diverse perspectives and make sure to try to represent all these different identities as best we can.
Josh?
Hey, Alston, thank you so much for being here tonight. So SFAC has the ability to fund a lot of different departments on campus. What is one area or department you'd want to focus on and why?
I think for me personally, I care a lot about basic needs and trying to support like low-income students. As a PED head for the LA program myself, I get to hear about the experiences of students in like a ton of classrooms because I get the opportunity to manage like a lot of different LAs, and they share a lot of experiences that they've witnessed or they've heard about. And obviously, there's so much challenges in the classroom, but making sure that a student's basic needs are supported and trying to help make learning more equitable. People come from very diverse backgrounds. Their high school environment was very different, and coming to UCLA, where it is a quota system, it's very fast-paced. It's so easy to feel left behind. So really using our resources to make sure that basic needs are met, so they don't have to, like, they're able to learn and really create a better learning environment. I think that even though our fees are used for a lot of fun things like there's Bruin Bash, there's all these events, I think one of the most important things is just making sure that these basic needs are met. And as a low-income student myself, like I do get to experience a lot of the challenges of coming to UCLA, as well as, not knowing where to find resources, not being able to do a lot of things that I see my peers doing just because of, this cost issue. So just really finding the way to best support these students and using our funds.
Have you?
Yeah, again, thank you so much, Austin, for your responses so far. My next question to you is just more so in your role as an SFAC representative for students, how are you ensure that you're able to reach student communities that you are not a part of, that are historically underrepresented in the work that SFAC does?
Yeah. So I think a lot of it I kind of talked about briefly too, but I definitely want to do a lot of surveys. I want to do these town halls, so students can really reach out and provide feedback. I also want to make an effort to have members of, our committee try to attend maybe some of these organizations that are historically marginalized, getting a chance to, like, for us to step out and do that rather than waiting for people to reach out for us. Because obviously, if we do that, our kind of pool of surveys is a little bit limited. So making the effort to do that, I think will really allow us to find really diverse perspectives. Just going out, like literally in person, talking to people, I think that is the most impactful way that we can make a difference and the way that we can really ensure that we really talk to all these different sorts of people and find out what truly matters to them.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, Alison, whenever you're ready, please go ahead with your 1 minute closing statements.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for your questions and for having me. I hope that you can tell with my experience and kind of the things I've done throughout my time in UCLA that I'm very passionate about making a difference. I've been a student leader in school for 8 years, and I've definitely learned a lot about how to handle issues, as well as how to successfully execute impactful changes, and how to work with a team of a variety of people. I care a lot about giving back to the community, and I think I have a really unique perspective and experience with management and financial skills that will really allow me to provide, and learn about these diverse perspectives to amplify the voices of as much students as possible. I hope my roles on campus really show a picture of how much I care about our student body and all the work I'm willing to do to really make a difference for our student body. And so if appointed, I'll definitely work to make sure that we allocate fees in a way that maximizes impact for all students and all communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we hear ARC's recommendations, please?
Alston had a fantastic interview with ARC. ARC was impressed with Alston's versatile experiences, including being involved as an LA, 2 USAC offices, and being an ACA. We believe that Alston can represent the needs of both North Campus and South Campus majors. ARC is excited to see some of Alston's goals for this committee, including providing support for basic needs services and supporting equitable access to academic resources for marginalized communities. With the 2-0 to 1 vote, ARC recommends Alston for this appointment.
Thanks, Josh. We are now going to move on to deliberations. Do any council members have any comments or concerns about the applicant? Josh.
Hi, Alston. Thank you again for being here tonight. I was the ARC member that abstained during your interview, and I'll also be one of the council members abstaining tonight. I've had the privilege of working with Alston for the past 2 years in IVP. She was one of my events directors last year, and she was one of the most hardworking and amazing directors we had. And this year, I've had the privilege of working with her as one of my chief of staffs. I have no doubt that she'll excel in this committee and grow, and I highly encourage everyone to vote yes, even though I'll be unable to do so tonight.
Tamim, followed by Chris Espino.
Hey, Alston, thanks a lot for being here. I'll be also abstaining tonight. I know Alston as she was my neighbor in freshman year. She's awesome, and I urge everyone to vote yes. Yeah.
So thanks, Adam, for your acknowledgement. I will be abstaining because I know Austin personally and professionally.
With that being said, can we please get a motion? Have you?
I move to appoint Austin Liu to the Student Fee Advisory Committee for a length of 1 year.
Any seconds?
I second.
Have you motion? Here are seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now.
Wait, it might be 2 years. Hold on, can I double check really quick?
Yes, please.
That would be a good idea. If it's 2 years, we can just when we're motioning, just you don't have to mention the term length because I don't think it's a variable term. Just say appointing to the position.
Yes, it is 2 years.
Okay.
Okay, then. Yeah, I'll re-motion. I move to appoint Austin Liu to the Student Fee Advisory Committee for a term of 2 years.
Second.
I second.
Have your motion is Josh seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands now. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. And all abstaining, please raise your hands. With an 11-0 to 3 votes, that motion passes and Alston is appointed to SFAC. Thank you all so much. We are now going to move on to officer reports. Everything will be ready for me. Josh.
I'll just share one thing. I have started doing regular meetings with the leadership of DSU as well as ABC CEPI. We are currently discussing the ongoing external review of CAE in the future. And we're going to be doing sort of like monthly or bi-weekly check-ins to discuss issues relating to CAE and other accessibility issues on campus.
Have you?
Yay, yeah. Most of my report will be written today, but one thing I did want to announce is that the UC Students Association is looking for folks to run in their election for 2 of their campaign vice chair roles. The first being Fund the UC, whose goal this year is to secure a $2 million endowment from the UC to support students with dependents. And the second campaign is Students Enacting Environmental Defense, or SEED, which concerns advocacy for expansion of student representation on the UC campus's Native American Advisory Council. If you are or know anyone who might be interested in advocating for these communities, please feel free to check out the Instagram link that I posted in my officer report, or send nominations directly to myself or campaign chair Abigail Reyes at their email that's also in my officer report. Thank you.
Thanks, Javier. Diego. Diego. Tommy.
Mine is all written today.
Chris Ramsey.
Yeah, fully written today.
Espino.
All written.
Robbie.
Written for tonight. Thank you all.
Carden.
Hi, all my reports are written.
Alicia.
Real quick, next week we will be having a gallery with Asa and Pisa for a celebration of Indigenous Heritage Month, and Yeah, that'll be in the gallery the entire week. And then on the 13th, Wednesday, we'll be having an event dedicated to celebrating Indigenous people called Indigenous Expressions. So I hope you guys turn out for that. It's gonna be beautiful. We did a version of it, the first version of it, my first term in CAC, just with ASAP, but now it's gonna be bigger and there'll be performances, spoken word, short films, art, vendors selling their work and their art. And then yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to plug for tonight, but everything else I'll put in my written report. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. Alex?
Hi, everything will be in my written report. Sorry.
Nico?
Hi, it's all written tonight.
Kiara?
My report's written tonight. The only thing is Burn Necessities Committee is having their menstrual hygiene fair this Thursday from 11 to 2 in Burn Plaza. That's it.
Thank you. Mona?
Most of mine will be written, but one really quick thing, please share my football game ticket giveaway for this Friday with everyone you know. It's open to all UCLA students. Naturally, preferably like it's transfer oriented because I am the TSR, but especially like plug it to any transfers you know, especially within your office, but just share with any students you know, please. Thank you. But everything else is written.
Last but not least, Tamim.
Hey everyone, everything's written tonight.
Moving on to admin reps, Orlando. Is Orlando here? Yes, Orlando is here.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. I do not have any updates.
Thank you, Orlando. Jessica?
Just a brief reminder for those of you who are funding chairs or oversee funding bodies. When you receive your allocation sheets from SGA with the event codes on them, please make sure that you forward those with the event codes to the fund recipients. Don't just send them an allocation notice that they've received funds, because otherwise it's difficult for them to navigate where to find their event codes. So my best suggestion is wait till you get that sheet back from SGA and then send that information to notify of allocations if you can. That's it for tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Lori.
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. We don't have Peter with us, I don't think. So, Jonathan.
Hey, hi, hello, all. Super quick on my end. Please schedule your one-on-ones if you are OP, EVP, TSR, Gen Rep 1, Gen Rep 2, or FAC. And then a reminder that Monday is Veterans Day, so we will all be out of office. So if you need anything, let us know before or after. And have a great night.
Thank you. And with that being said, I adjourn this